This is a Gree mini-split air conditioner 1-ton unit outdoor circuit board, and it's completely new, but it has a problem and is not starting at all. First, I will check the fuse to make sure it hasn't blown. I will set my multimeter to continuity mode. The fuse seems to be fine. There is no issue with it. After that, let's check another fuse that is also installed in it. I have now taken it out of the cover, and I have also installed the electric connections for it. We will properly test it first, and after testing, we will give it electricity. So when I tested this fuse, I found that for 1-ton units, there is usually a 20 amp fuse installed. This one is fine. I will check another fuse, which I'll show you. This is FU102, and it is very important to check this fuse because it is for the SMPS. If the SMPS is not working, then the PCB will not turn on, so it's essential to check this. Let's set the multimeter to continuity mode. This one is also fine. Since it is not turning on, there is something shorted that is causing the entire PCB to be dead. Now, it is possible that the SMPS might also be faulty, and there could be a short circuit on the high side, meaning in the IPM, diodes, IGBT, or the bridge rectifier. Let's start the testing now. First of all, when the electricity comes in, it goes through the filter. The chances of the filter being faulty are very low. If it is faulty, it would have burnt out somewhere, or one of the capacitors might have exploded. However, in this unit, there doesn't seem to be any of that. So I will skip these checks and go directly to the PTC sensor. So now, let's check the PTC sensor and see whether it is working correctly or is faulty. For this, we will set the multimeter to resistance mode. By checking its resistance, we'll know whether it's fine or not. I will now check its resistance value. It showed 42.7 ohms, which means the PTC sensor is working perfectly. If the resistance value were in kilo ohms, then we'd know it was faulty, but if it's lower, it means it's fine. Next, our testing will focus on the high side of the unit. I will check this now. If everything is fine, then we will apply electricity once and check it with power. After that, we will work on the SMPS. If we find a short circuit on this side, then the fault will become apparent, and we'll repair those components first before moving on to the SMPS. Let's take this connector out as it's causing some disturbance. There is a lock on this thimble, and if you do not push it, the connector might break. See, when the lock on this connector is pressed, it moves downward. If you try to pull it without pressing this lock, no matter how hard you pull, it will break, but won't come out. So now let's perform the testing on the high side. First, we need to discharge the capacitor. I have already discharged it. Now, I will check the capacitor. I will set the multimeter to continuity mode. These electrolytic capacitors block AC and pass DC voltages. If the capacitors show continuous beep, it indicates that there is a short circuit and the situation is more serious. As we check step by step, we will understand what's happening. AC electricity is converted using rectifiers for rectification, so we will test the bridge rectifier first. This one is positive and the other is negative. I'll check the first point. It's not showing anything. Let's check the second point. It's also not showing anything. And the fourth point isn't showing anything either. So that's fine. Now I will switch the polarity, putting positive on negative and negative on positive. Now the first point is showing a value, and the second point is also showing a value, as well as the third point. This means it's perfectly fine. Now let's move on to the IGBT and check it as well. We'll see if there are any voltages present. If so, then it's perfectly fine. But here, it has dropped to 0, which means it is dead. As you can see, the next point is also 0, indicating there is a problem here as well. Now let's change the polarity. It remains 0. Now we will check the diodes. This one is also 0, still 0, after changing the polarity of the probes, which means the diode is faulty. Now let's test the IPM. As you can see, there is also a short circuit here. The UVW is completely fine, but the negative and positive are shorted together, which is why the IPM is faulty. We can't do anything with it now. But here we have a chance to see if we can remove the IGBT and the diode and check them afterward. It's possible that one of these components is showing a short circuit, but there is still a chance. So first, I will remove the IGBT and the diode. So, I have removed the IGBT and diode from this circuit, but I will show you later which of these are short-circuited. Now let's check whether the IPM is fine or not. When I showed you earlier, all the components were showing as shorted. Now let's see what the IPM shows us. I've set the multimeter to diode mode, so we will check the points. As you can see, a value appears and then disappears. Now I will switch to reverse polarity to see what happens when positive is applied to negative. It shows perfectly fine. Now we will check the next point. That one is also completely fine. So all the points are perfectly fine. Now let's test the diode. The diode is shorted. After this, we will test the IGBT. And it turns out that the IGBT is also shorted. This means both the diode and IGBT are shorted, while the IPM is fine and the bridge rectifier is also fine. Therefore, we will change the diode and IGBT, and I hope this PCB will work perfectly afterward, and there should be no issues with the SMPS. Now I'll share a very special technique with you all. If you work professionally, you might already know about this, but it's quite rare knowledge. If you do know, that's great, but I'm sure 99% of people who work in repairs aren't aware of this. When we place all components on the heatsink at the same level, sometimes if the level becomes unbalanced, the PCB can start to bend. Alternatively, the component itself can start to apply pressure to one side, which increases the chances of it heating up. If the component isn't sitting completely flat on the heatsink, heat dissipation will be very poor. Therefore, to transfer heat effectively to the heatsink, it's crucial that the component sits flat. So here's the technique. After replacing the diode and IGBT, I haven't soldered them yet. I've just placed them on top of their spots without soldering. By doing this, the level becomes perfectly aligned, and my components will sit correctly on the heatsink, which is very important to ensure heat is properly transferred to the heatsink. Now after this, I will solder them, and the level will be perfect, preventing my components from overheating. Now you can see that I have soldered it in this position, and my PCB was already fitted on top, so it will stay in place and I won't need to remove it. As you can see here, the soldering is complete, so let's proceed to test it. The PCB is now ready, and I have connected electricity to it. Now I'll turn it on, and you will see that it powers up. So it has powered on successfully. Here, you can see that all three lights are blinking, which means the PCB is working correctly. However, I can't test it in a unit right now because I don't have one available at the moment, so we'll have to check it on site, but hopefully it's working perfectly now. Click on the left or right thumbnail to watch our next videos, and subscribe. Thank you.